I am happy. I'm not happy every day, like there's just nobody can be happy every day. So I think we should stop thinking about happiness as like an emotion, where you feel something, you're gonna feel crappy. I mean, that doesn't mean you're not happy.
Welcome back to another episode of the Being Whole podcast. I'm so excited that you're here this week when we're talking to my friend, Nayana Sen. Nayana has 18 plus years experience managing programs and projects for government and private sectors. She's managed a public affairs department of a federal government entity in Florida, and she owns a training business centered on skills like communication, leadership, and teamwork. She's also focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion training. I'm so excited about this chat with Nayana today because we cover a lot of ground in terms of how you can move through things in your personal life and grow professionally. Hello, everyone. Today, again, we are here with my friend Nayana. And Nayana, I'm so grateful to have you here. I've kind of told everyone about what a badass I think you are. I know that you are a popular podcast host. Obviously, you're a professional businesswoman. You're raising a child. What are other things that you're doing right now in your life that have brought you to this point?
I am really excited to be here on your podcast. I saw it and I was just like, I really hope I get to be on her show. So I'm so grateful that you asked me to be here. I don't know. It's kind of, I thought before the pandemic, I was going to be somebody else, and then during the pandemic, everything in my brain has kind of shifted around. So I would say most of my time goes to just managing the day to day of having like a child with some learning issues, homeschooling, because yeah, he has a curriculum and stuff, but guess who's like the person that's got to make sure that it all gets done, in addition to my work and all this other stuff that I committed myself to. So I would say most of my time now kind of just goes towards just kind of like staying above water. And it's really hard because I feel like I'm one of those super ambitious people. I've tried to not be, I've tried to like, but it doesn't work, right? Like you have to be yourself. And so I'm like, give me more. I'll take it on. I want to do this. I want to do that. And then I just kind of get to the point where it's like, okay, calm down. Let's just take a day or two off before you burn out. So honestly, that's what I've been doing. Just trying to manage my day to day and keeping my sight focused kind of towards the future and like the bigger picture. Like we'll get through this kind of thing, and just hoping for the best.
Okay, so hearing you talk, just people who just happen to listen to this, hearing you say you have all these things that you're managing and everything like that, and you're hoping for the best and you're getting through, you have such a positive energy and such a positive spirit, even though you have such a busy life. So I'm wondering if you can give us a little bit of backstory in terms of what made you into a strong, resilient person who can handle all of these things that life is throwing at you? Or what are some different things that you've gone through in your life that have brought you to that place, that mindset where you're like, you know what, there is a bigger picture. This isn't something I can focus on.
I think the thing that really just changed me as a person is the death of my father, like 4.5 years ago. And I had kind of known it was coming. He was sick for a while, but then until someone actually dies or passes away, and you don't really know what to expect, right? He was not fully conscious. He wasn't even conscious. He had a heart attack that led to him becoming pretty much, bedridden. His brain was not working. So he was just, but he was not that person, all his life he was loud. He always had an opinion. He was, so it's just so different to see him that way. And so I sat with him in the room until he passed. I held his hand. So I didn't think I could do something like that. I mean, I've always been scared of everything, right? Scared of, oh my God, sitting there watching death happen. Like, okay. So I would say that fundamentally like changed who I was as a person, right? So up until then, I did the things like I went to school, I got married, I got divorced, got married again, had a kid, had a house, had a this, had a that. And I was just, just life. But from there, I just don't think I'm the same person. So after that, I've just, I was like in $60,000 of debt for no reason. I don't know what I was in debt for. I was in a horrible, unhappy marriage, and I don't like to talk about it too much because we have a child together, so I don't want to badmouth his dad or anything like that, or have him somehow down the road hear that. But it was not a good situation. I'm just happy to be out of it. Um, but that really fundamentally changed me, where I'm just like, you know what, life is short, and I'm not going to sit here and be miserable. I'm going to control what I can control, do what I can do, and I'm going to get up every single day, and I'm going to try to, okay, do the best I can do. And every day is not a great day. Some days you're going to be tired, and that's okay. Some days you're going to want to stay in bed and not get up. That's okay. Um, the thing that I really found interesting is that I used to always tell myself I'm not a morning person, right? Can't handle anything before 9 o'clock. I have to have coffee to function. Well, you know what? I get up at the butt crack of dawn,
Yeah.
right? I get up. I mean, if I didn't, I wouldn't get out the door to get to work. So since we've been home with the pandemic, I get up earlier and I go to the gym, and it's a slow moving progress machine. I'm not one of those people that, you see those stories where you're like, okay, I lost 100 pounds, and okay, well, I gained 15 during the last year. I'm going to work on that again. So it's kind of like, I'm one of those slow moving progress people, and that's fine. It is fine. I've learned to just accept the different parts of my personality that, one day is like if I was watching myself from like a video point of view, I'd be like, who's showing up today? Who's showing up today?
You know what? It's not who's showing up. It's the thing I like to focus on is somebody's showing up, right?
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
which version of me is going to be there today, but as long as I'm there in some capacity, I'm going to go with it. But okay, you've said so many wonderful things already. Okay, just even from the standpoint, thinking about, you said your dad's death. And one of the things that I think is so important that we need to continually talk about is, it can be any number of things that can be the awakening moment for you, or the thing that makes you dig in deeper, or the thing that makes you look at your life and be like, oh, what do I need to change? Or where am I? And so even, so many people I think can resonate to what you even said. You look around, you realize, oh, I have this credit card debt, or I'm in debt. Like, what did I buy? What did I do? And that's one of the things that we do a lot, is we numb out by online shopping, or by going out or drinking or doing whatever else, right? And what we're doing is we're numbing out from actually feeling things, from actually being present, from doing everything you said, right? So having that shifting and awakening, not only to help you like in a personal standpoint for your mentality, but yeah, you start to realize kind of all the ways when you're not living in intention and awareness and really being present, how, oh yeah, where did that money go? Oh, why did I get this package from Amazon? Or, why do I feel hungover today? Or whatever it is for you, right? And so I also love the way that you talk too about, just holding yourself accountable and having some ownership over the things. We tell ourselves stuff all the time, right? Like, oh, I'm not a morning person. Well, then why am I up at 4:30 every day? My body must think I'm a morning person. So just even, thank you so much for your honesty and just really reflecting too about, here's some things that were going on. Here's what I wanted to do differently, and what that really looked like. Because grief is so hard. It's hard to be in the space of that and to feel like you can get out of it in any way.
Yeah, truthfully, I had about a year and a half, I would say, between the time my father passed and the time I was functioning again, where I was functioning, I was going to work, but like, I'm surprised I didn't get written up. Nothing happened, because like, I wasn't there. I wasn't fully anywhere, but like, I don't remember a lot of it.
Yeah.
So
I relate to that so much. It's funny too, especially with, dissociation or depersonalization, or just sometimes when we're in the overwhelm. And I think this is something too really important to talk with people about. When you're in that overwhelm, you don't realize how you are. You're just kind of almost floating through life, right? And you can feel things, or you can feel the decisions, but this is where a lot of people, I think, are feeling this now too. You'll hear people say like, oh, I don't know what happened in the last year, or things are just flying by. And it's like that inability to really ground down. And some of it's because there's so much uncertainty or added stress, or, the traumas that come up. And it really is like our brain protecting ourselves from having to feel stuff, right? Or from having
Right.
to really sit with what's going on. And so it's like kind of having that a moment where it's like, okay, my brain is trying to protect me right now, but maybe it's not doing it in the most healthy way. So how can I redirect it? But damn, that takes some discipline.
Well, discipline, and like I think it's just, making a schedule and just kind of saying, I'm still gonna do it. I'm still gonna do it. I don't feel like doing it, but I'm gonna do something. Even if I can't do the full 45-minute workout that I had set out to do this morning, I'll do 10 of it. Okay, I did it. I did something. And then once you're in the motion, you tend to carry out, whatever you started. So it's not just discipline per se, but it's just the act of you're right. Your brain is going to tell you, you don't need to do this. You don't need to do this. We're fine.
We're fine. You look good.
Girl, have you seen you lately? You look good.
Right. It's like your brain wants to do one of two things. It's like talking you out of doing the thing you should do, and then later it's going to shame you because you didn't do
Right.
it. Right.
Right. You can't win, but
No, but that's that thing back to, your moment of, having that awareness or that recognition where, okay, what do I want to change? And it's so funny. I was just talking with somebody this morning about that. Like, awareness is a beautiful thing, right? It gets you to one place. But if you don't have then the tools or the mechanisms or the processing after the awareness is the thing that can make you feel crazy, because you're like, oh, that's what I did, or oh, this is how I made that mistake, or oh, this is how that fits, or oh no. So it's really like learning to take that consciousness and that awareness and not shame yourself for it, or not ruminate or live in it, but figure out how to make positive, healthy changes, or to, establish things that you can do to go forward, like everything you're saying. So you said the divorce and, working with your son. I also really want to commend you for what you said about, divorce is hard. And anytime you have a relationship that ends, I think a lot of times, everybody wants to know what happened, or they want to hear the ins and outs of it. And that's something too with my own, even when I wrote my book or talking about my divorce, that is my kid's dad. And that is something that's a relationship with them, and learning even how to work through your own things while not telling other people's stories, or while allowing other people to have their process, especially your kids and things like that. How did you kind of manage through some of the things that you had to manage when you maybe didn't want to talk about it all, or couldn't share parts of it, or didn't feel comfortable?
um honestly, I'm a big advocate for counseling, and I think more people should go to counseling when they feel overwhelmed, because you have friends, you have family, and I talk to my friends, I talk to my family, but there's a trained professional can really make the difference in handling life situations and things like that. And so I did go, kind of like right before the divorce, I started counseling yet once again to kind of see if I could work out the marriage, kind of. So I didn't go with him. I just went with myself. And she said, well, why don't you bring him and we'll, talk about it together. And so like, so whatever happened, I said, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to get a divorce. So before the next counseling session, I had decided to, no, this isn't going to work. So, and then I missed the counseling session because I was kind of like, going through this stuff. And then I showed up at her office, and I think she thought I was having a real mental health crisis because I got the date wrong. So I was just in her office, like, I need to talk to my counselor. She's like, I just got the date wrong. But she's like, okay, so all right, let's talk. So when do you want to schedule him to come in? I was like, oh, no, I'm done. He's not in my life anymore. She was like, we just met like 2 weeks ago and you were still actively trying to work things out. I think no, I think you just get to the point in yourself where there is not any working this out, whether it's a job, a relationship, or friendship, or whatever it is. You get to that point and
Mhm.
within yourself, this isn't going to work. So Yeah, I told a lot of people, like my close friends, my family, the things I hadn't told people before. So like I legitimately have a reason why I got divorced. I think most people legitimately have a reason, right? Like they don't necessarily want to tell everybody, but um I take ownership in that. Like I was in the wrong relationship and I allowed myself to stay in that space for a long time. Um
Get that. And I think, it's, everybody has a reason for getting divorced. And the thing I want to say is the reason gets to be that you're unhappy,
yeah.
period. And I think that that's the thing. Like most people who get divorced too, they talk about how they tried or different things. And when you talk about divorce and you talk about the aftermath of it, like you say, you want a reason or you want an explanation or you want to be able to justify it to somebody because it's seen as like such a terrible thing. And by the way, I'm not advocating everybody go get divorced. Okay. What I'm saying more so is that instead, I wish we could look at it as a space as if the reason is that people are just unhappy and incompatible and we're not working through this, or it's damaging to one party or whoever in one certain way, that is a reason. And sometimes I think we wait for there to be, they didn't cheat on me or they didn't hit me or they didn't do this, and or whoever says whatever. And I'm not saying that none of that happened in your situation. I don't know your situation. I'm more saying that like just this idea that when is our happiness and when is that what you're saying, that wholeness and that fulfillment and that just waking up and being enjoying in a space that you're in a relationship with another person, like that should be enough to get you to want to stay or leave a relationship, like feeling that space, I guess.
I'd say like, for me personally, and I think this with my friends and people who are, once you get divorced, other people feel more open to tell you they hate their partner, right?
Oh
And
my
you're
gosh,
like,
so do.
okay, so leave. And they're like, I can't leave, yada yada yada. Okay,
Oh
well,
my God.
then don't leave. So,
Yeah,
but I
that's so
think
funny. It's true.
ultimately, I think it comes down to, are you with the person? Like, would you be with that person today? Like, if you met them today as the person as they are, as the person you are today, would you want to continue this relationship? Because, you met somebody maybe 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, when you maybe have experienced trauma or things may have changed for you. And are you the same person? And I think if you're not willing to grow together, if you guys just have completely different life goals, we don't live in a time, and I think some people are still like this, where we got married, we got to stick it out till the end, no matter what. But we don't live in that time anymore where you have to stay married. Like, I think my parents, my grandparents, I don't think they had a choice. Whether they were miserable or not, they had to stay.
Yeah, I hope that we're learning better ways to talk to people about, yes, how to get help, how to find resources, how to work through things, but then also how to recognize when, what are your own needs? What are the things you want from a relationship? And are you growing in that relationship? Is the other person growing with you? And really then allowing yourself to change your mind, and that doesn't always mean divorce for people. Sometimes, again, it means working through things. And I
Mhm.
guess the main reason I wanted to talk to you about that too is I think, again, it's all part of it. You saying that you really had to get to a space where basically what it was is you started choosing yourself and you started really deciding what it was that you needed. And so before that, you had all of these things that, that's what happens a lot of times, right? We get the things we think we want. We have the house, we have the kid, we have the marriage, or we have whatever. And then one day you kind of wake up for some people and you're like, okay, but am I happy in this? Or how much of a struggle is this every day? Or where is my joy? And why am I having to work so hard to find it? And so
Yeah.
really being able to like grow through that on a personal level changes your relationships just on the surface, but then the deeper relationships, your friendships, as you said too, have changed just as you've kind of gone through this transformation process of choosing yourself and showing up for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And uh I am happy. I'm not happy every day, like there's just nobody can be happy every day. So I think we should stop thinking about happiness as like an emotion, where you feel something, you're gonna feel crappy. I mean, that doesn't mean you're not happy. I
Yeah.
think for me, happiness means that you are like you said, like in yourself, I guess, your own person, your own, you are yourself. Like, you get this one life, right? You have, and I don't know how many lives we get before or after. None of us can remember, and some of us can, some of us can't. I don't know what that all is, but all I know is that we have this life to control. That's all we have, right? So when you look at other women, you look at women who don't have the ability still to choose for themselves what they want, right? um, Children that don't have education, they're not going to have those things. If
Yeah.
you're lucky enough to be in a position where you do get to decide your own fate, you should. I mean, you decide what you want for yourself, what makes you happy. And like I said, not just, oh, I'm happy today. No, like in your core, what makes you feel like you're a whole person, like, like you're on solid ground, like you're not, like you said, floating through life. Like what makes you feel like you're here and alive? That's the thing that you should pursue.
Right. And I think, yeah, we're so really just not very good at articulating emotion at all, right? People know how, no, sorry. People know happy or sad or they're mad, but it's like really, happiness is fleeting. What we should be teaching people is how to find joy. Okay. Because that joy that comes from within, the joy that isn't dependent on a place or a situation or any external factor, right? Whereas, and then learning about all of the other emotions and how we can move through them and recognizing them and not pushing them aside, but then accepting them too, and being able to show up and be like, yeah, I'm not okay today. And instead of having people be like, oh, I'm so worried about you, or what's wrong, or thinking it's a cry for help, being like, oh, I'm sorry you're not okay. Is there anything I can do to help you be better? Or be like, okay. And one of the things too is just you start to recognize how uncomfortable people are with emotion, right? When you start to be okay with saying who you are and what you are, and this is what I'm feeling, oh my goodness, do other people show up in weird ways, right? Because you start to see their discomfort with different things, or the ways that, maybe they don't want to talk about things or move through things in. And that's been eye-opening for me as well, then, to learn how to relate to people differently, because sometimes I want to just call people out and be like, yeah, I see you're scared right now. But like, nobody wants to hear that shit, right? Hey, I wanted to take a minute and tell you about something I created that so many of us really need at a time in this world. There's so much going on and our attention is being pulled in 1,000 different directions, or so it feels. And oftentimes we find ourselves really neglecting our self-care. I created a self-care guide to help you get intentional with your practice, along with a routine tracker to ensure you are showing up and caring for yourself in the ways that you crave the most. Head over to Instagram and DM me at Dr. Cassandra LeClaire the term self-care, and I will send you the link to get the download. Now let's get back to this episode with Nayana.
They do not. They do not. So it's so funny because when I was like little, I used to cry a lot, right? Like, and then people used to make fun of me for crying a lot. So I just learned how to cry kind of silently. Like, I'd be like, but I'm still gonna cry, right? Like that's one of my how I deal with things is crying. But like, at work or in life, like people really don't see me crying. But I think it's so necessary when you are feeling emotional, and like there's just nothing better than sitting here and bawling your eyes out for 10 minutes, and then you get up and you move on and you do what you got to do. So for me, that's one of my like things, and it's my little secret thing that I do.
It's interesting though, too, because sometimes people who haven't known me very long, they'll be like, how do you were just upset and now you're fine. And it's like, that's because I know how to move through an emotion. I can sit
Right.
with it when I need to sit with it and process it. But I also then I'm like, yep, I felt that. Okay, that's what that looked like. I can talk to it a little bit and then I can move through it and let it go. So yeah, on any given day, I'm like just riding that wave, like some days there are the major ups and downs or the stressors or the crisis, like you're saying. It is rare that I think anybody goes through the day and it's like, I only felt happy today. And if they
Right.
did, they probably weren't allowing themselves to feel other things, is what I would honestly say. So just
Yeah.
really, recognizing the spaces in all the things, like you said, it's not just about your relationships, it's professionally, it's personally, it's like what are all the spaces where you want it to look different, where you want to have a different awareness, where you want to show up differently or as a different person, and having the recognition that like you get to do that, even if you didn't do it yesterday, you get to do it today, and really that awareness. And that's why I love talking to you so much too. Just whenever we chat, you have such a good perspective on just like, yep, okay, I'm going to show up. This is who I am right now. This is what I'm going to do. And this is what here I am. And whatever that looks like. Are there other things that you do to kind of really help maintain a more positive spirit, especially on days when you don't have a positive spirit?
I do try to meditate. Like, it has been life changing for me to learn how to quiet my brain, because I feel like my brain runs about way faster than my mouth runs and way faster than my body can run, but it's going all the time. So I do have to make time to meditate. And I haven't been good about that because, um, like when you really do quiet your mind and you hear stuff and you're like, okay, now I need to focus on this, right? And the truth, you hear the truth and you're not necessarily ready to hear stuff. So you're kind of like, no, I'm just gonna keep dumbing myself down with something else, or take on something, and that'll solve the problem. But really, I think ultimately it's just learning to just sit and focus and just be present, right? Be present in your own life and not in the future, because hey, that's anyone's guess. Well, none of us could have predicted the pandemic would last like 2 years or however long it's been. I don't know how old we are at this point, but
Oh,
it's like, I don't know. And we thought 2 weeks was a lot, right? And but now we're all kind of fundamentally changed where um, you know, people are teaching online, right? Like you're teaching online, and I'm shifting to that way too. When I didn't think, like, we're all just gonna have to learn new skills and stuff, but that can't replace the time we have to take to become ourselves. And you cannot become the next level version of you without meditation, without some kind of quiet time. And if not everybody can really meditate, right? Like it's one of those weird words that freak people out, like new age, weird stuff. Well, people have been doing this for thousands of years, right? It's not new. Second of all, you don't have to do that if you're not comfortable. I think you can do other things. Like I try to do other things, like I write music and things like that, that also feel like meditation for me, because it's 15 minutes of listening to music where I'm putting down my words or my thoughts. And so over the last like 2 years, I've put out 4 songs.
that's awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't have any intentions, like I think I've told you, I don't have any intentions of becoming a professional singer. It's not something I enjoy. It like I don't want to get paid to do stuff like that. Like I don't want to, I just want to have something that I enjoy doing that takes my mind off of all the other things I have to do. Because I
And
don't want to make something that I have to do music. I don't have to do it if I don't want to do it.
right, you want to
So,
fuel that creative piece of
yeah.
yourself. And I think that that's so much part of this. That's why I keep talking about, being whole, is how do we nurture all of those aspects of ourselves so that we can show up as a whole person. And so nurturing the creative aspect of yourself to quiet your mind. Yeah. Using meditation, the meditation, you're absolutely right. Whatever that looks like for you to be able to still yourself. Several years ago, I went to a psychiatrist, and I was like, I've been on and off different meds my whole life for various things, for, anxiety or depression or ADHD. And so I went in at this time and I was just like, I need something. I am really stressed out. Like it's too much. I need some meds. And he looked at me and he's like, okay, so when is the last time you were still? And I was like, oh, well, I sit still sometimes at work, and me. And for those of you who are listening and can't see me on video, I'm like super fidgety and all over the place all the time. So I was just like, I sit still sometimes at work or when I'm driving. And he was like, no, I mean, when are you still, like inside? And I was like, I don't think I understand the question. I was like, this does not resonate with me. What are you talking about? And so just really, it was this eye-opening spot where he's like, think about that. And I was like, no, I am well aware how my brain never shuts off. That's why I'm here. Give me the drugs, and he's like, okay, but have you considered all of these other things? And I had such resistance because I was just like, no, I don't have time for that shit. I'm too busy. That's why I'm anxious. Give me the meds. And again, this is not an anti-med conversation, but it's more of like, I'm so grateful to him because yeah, his script pad was right there. But it was really another push I needed because I knew it. I knew I should be sitting more still with myself. I knew I should be meditating, or I hadn't been journaling in a while, or whatever it was, right? But it's like really letting yourself sit there. And sometimes you might not feel anything, or sometimes, your grocery list might pop into your head, or you might then start spiraling off on another section, but just practicing that and just sitting there and then realizing, okay, today I could only do it for 30 seconds, or today I did it for a minute, but then recognizing what that feels like. And once you get there, like you're saying, then allowing, oh, now when I sit here like this is where my best ideas come in. This is where I really see where I'm in alignment. This is where I see like how some of these things that were stressing me out should look different or should fall away. So sometimes it allows those thoughts to come in. Other times it allows me just to sit there and feel like I am still. And I don't get that feeling easily. It's something I really have to work for.
Yeah. Another thing I find really important is to kind of be in, like, I love the ocean, so I live by the ocean, luckily. So I live 5 minutes away from the ocean. I don't go there enough. But when I do go, even if it's for 10, 15 minutes, it just changes my whole outlook on life and my perspective, just to kind of something about being in nature, right? And not everybody's lucky enough to have an ocean by them, but I feel like, anything with a body of water tends to make me feel good. And I think I've heard that's like a empath kind of thing. We like to be near water. I don't know why. I can't swim for my life, but I like to look at it, dip my feet in it, and it really helps. So, like, I think anyone who's struggling, really, it doesn't matter how much time you have. We all have things that are going to come up. We all have responsibilities. Some moms have multiple children that they're managing, and through the pandemic and homeschooling. So I feel lucky that I only have the one, because if I had multiple, I really don't know how I would handle it. But people do it, but you still have to find time for yourself. It's not negotiable. You can't put yourself last. It doesn't matter who else you're responsible for, because you're responsible for your children until the day you leave the planet, right? In some ways, and less as they grow older. But some kids need support throughout their 20s and 30s, and you don't know if you're going to be that parent. So whatever comes your way comes your way. But if you don't have the skills or the tools within yourself to be able to manage your life, you're not going to be able to help anybody else. And
No. And
so,
and
yeah.
and recognizing within that, I just came off of a semester where I taught family comm again and family communication. And that's always such an eye-opening space for me, because I get to sit and listen to all my students talk about their lives and what it looked like and compare that to the research and all of that.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things too, is like, we're doing our children a disservice by not putting ourselves first, because then we're not showing them how to do that. Right. And that's what
Right.
I tell parents too. It's like, okay, your kids do see you busy, stressed out. They see you putting everybody else first. Is that what you want for them? Do you want them 20 years from now to feel like you feel? And if not, then start showing them, okay, yes, this is why I need to have my cup of coffee in the morning. And again, obviously it has to change with like different ages and different abilities of children and things like that. And everybody's navigating that for themselves. But really just even starting with the mindset that you get to come first. So many people don't even have that, because we don't understand that we do have needs. You don't understand, people don't understand what, if I don't get my needs met, here's how it shows up in other ways. So many of like relational frustrations or resentments or things like that, it comes back to, we didn't put ourselves first. We didn't honor our needs. We extended ourselves to other people, or we thought we were helping at the expense of ourselves because we could handle it or whatever. Right. And so I really, I love the way you put that, and the way we're just talking about how it is really, it's discipline to also put yourself first, right? It's a choice and it's a commitment. And it's honestly a much harder commitment than giving yourself to somebody else. It just is. So it's like really making that choice every day of like, okay, I choose myself first so I can be a better mom, so I can be a better friend, so I can be a kick-ass professional or whatever it is, right? So really, I guess what we all need then going forward is that continued accountability and that continued, let's do that for one another and empower and hold each other accountable. So you and I talked about that before we kind of started recording today, is just really, as friends, holding each other accountable, as business owners, holding each other accountable. And I think that's something too, I want to say to people, if you are struggling, or if you don't know how to do this, or if you are feeling alone, you're absolutely not alone. Everybody is, like so many of the things that we're talking about here today. You could go up to 5 different people at a random grocery store and they would say these things, so just really recognizing that some of what can help you feel more in control when all of this uncertainty is swirling is talking about it, or is recognizing that other people are going through that too, and taking ownership over it, and then being willing to take those steps to put yourself first or to take some space.
Yeah, and one of the most important things in whatever your journey is to find people that share that goal or that journey, because um, people can relate, right, to you as much as they can relate. Like, my some family friends, they're not interested in the things I'm interested in, and that's fine. Like, we're allowed to have different thoughts, so I can talk to them about things, but I can't expect them to understand. Um, and
Yeah.
I think that's been a source of conflict, for me, is that I expect, well, if I'm going through this and my brain is stuck on, I want to be an entrepreneur, or I want to do this, or I want to do that, I kind of expect other people to understand. And it was eye-awakening for me to realize, well, that's completely ridiculous. I cannot expect people who are not going through what I'm going through to understand where I'm coming from or why I'm doing things, or, but I can just try to be a little bit more easygoing, I guess. I don't have that reputation where I'm like easy to get along with soul, but I don't see myself as a conflict-driven person. You know what I mean? I feel like I try to accommodate people and stuff like that. So I've had to see that within myself, that people are going to have these ideas and opinions, and it's fine. It's fine. Let them have it. You have to work. You have to focus on your own goals and keep whatever the vision is for yourself in your own heart and in your mind. Go from there. Everybody else is important in your life, your family, your friend, your job. Everything is important. But the thing that you're being drawn to, called to, the thing that wakes you up in the morning that you feel excited about, you need to pursue that. You need to get up and do something about it, because the time will go. Nobody knows what's going to happen in the future, but you don't want to leave this planet and say, hey, I never pursued what I wanted to pursue, or I never tried. Who cares if you fail? It's just another stepping stone into something better, and if you keep that perspective that, well, I'm here, and I'm here to live my life, and it's not predetermined. I mean, some people say it is, but I don't know that. You don't know that. None of us know what's predetermined or not. So let's just see where, our heart calls us. Let's see where we can grow, and let's find the people that can hold us accountable to our vision. And so I'm so grateful that we've been able to kind of connect and randomly connected, right? Like on a group where I was working on a podcast, and now we're talking about accountability, and so I'm so excited and so grateful to be here, and I'm excited to participate in your podcast, and I look forward to our future collaborations and things like that.
No, thank you so much for your time today, and just for sharing so many different pieces of your life and the ways that you really navigate and wake up every day to show up to be your whole self. So, I know you have so many things upcoming, and of course I'll link everything for everyone in the show notes, but is there anywhere that you want to point people to, or anything that you're really excited about that you want to share with people, or how they can find you?
Yeah, I mean, just over the last year, I've always kind of been drawn to teaching, entrepreneurship, all these different things, and it felt like I was kind of spinning my wheels trying to figure out my passion, my purpose. How you listen to enough self-development stuff, you're going to be looking for your passion and your purpose every
Yeah.
day. and then you don't find it, you're like, I'm a loser, I don't have one, you know.
Mhm.
But I think it's a process, and through the process of just trying different things, I got an opportunity to put together some courses for people looking to become a U.S. citizen. So I'm working on releasing that, course where people can learn online about becoming a sort of a naturalized citizen. And I'm a naturalized citizen, so I'm so excited to give part of my experience back to someone that it can help. And that kind of led me down to, um, how I can be of more impact, because I felt like I wasn't making an impact the way I wanted to. So I started thinking about my own experience as a woman, as an immigrant, as a mother, like just the different things I have, and then work, like how can I give back and still work and still have my own business and still do all these things. So I got my certificate in diversity, equity, and inclusion in the workforce. So I'm really excited about that, and rolling out some courses and things like that. And we're going to be starting in, mid-February, where we're talking about, full day kind of courses to help organizations build their initial strategy. Because you can't build a strategy in one day. You kind of need long-term, ongoing support from professionals that are in the space. But I want to be able to start those conversations, and I want to be able to help as many people as I can. But I did set a goal for myself that I want to be able to train in the upcoming year 1,000 people for diversity, equity, and inclusion. I don't know if I'll meet the goal or not, but we're gonna figure that out somehow.
Well, I love it. I love that you're just so inspired to continue to reach for your goals. And now you're using your own experience and your own history to help more people. And I'm excited that we'll get to work together to do some of those things. And you're going to meet that goal because we're accountability partners and we are going to crush some things. So thank you again for everyone who's listening. And if you need an accountability partner, find one. Find those people who inspire you. Find the people who encourage you and lift you up and support you. And if you don't know who those people are in person, look on social media, find people who inspire you in that way. It doesn't have to be someone you know. It can be anyone who helps give you that feeling that you are empowered and that you can work towards something and be who you really want to be inside. So thank you so much for everyone for listening and part of this conversation today. Thank you, Nayana. I'm so happy to see you and so grateful that you were here today. Thanks,
I'm so
everyone.
happy you're able to. Thank you so much for having me.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm so awkward at that. Wow. How great was the episode today? I loved getting to chat with Nayana. Here are a few of my takeaways. Number one, if you're not aware of what you're doing in the moment, you may wake up one day and realize you're deep in debt or have gone down a rabbit hole you might not be proud of. Grief is hard, so give yourself grace and be proud that you're doing the best you can in the moment. Number two, good enough is good enough when you're going through the day-to-day and you might not be fully mentally present. Celebrate the little ways you are showing up, even when you feel a complete resistance to do so. Number three, divorce can be messy and everyone in the situation processes things differently. This is important to remember in order to honor and respect everyone's healing journey. Number four, if you're feeling unhappy in a relationship, take a look at how you've grown as a person and how the relationship supports your evolution as a human. Sometimes we wake up and realize that it's time to put ourselves first and allow ourselves to change our mind about our relationships. Number five, meditation can be such a positively powerful tool to calm your body and allow yourself to be in the flow, to listen to the guidance that is meant for you to ultimately lead you to the next level of joy. Thanks again for being here today. Have a great week.